Hey, what is going on, guys? Today we're going to be reviewing the 2021 New York Jets draft class. In this video, I'm also going to be referencing one of my older videos where I went over the class, and we're going to review my previous expectations, what the rookies accomplished this year, and overall just give my thoughts on how they did and what they could do in the future. First up, Zach Wilson. I would like to see Zach Wilson at least throw for 3,000 yards and 20 touchdowns. Now, even though Zach Wilson fell short of my expectations, 2,334 yards, 9 touchdowns, but 11 interceptions, and I also said in my video that I wanted him to stay relatively healthy. He did injure his PCL, but can't really control that. Zach Wilson in his last 5 games managed to have 0 interceptions in all of them, and coming back from injury in his last 7 games, he had only 2 picks, which is pretty good. And I think Zach Wilson in year 2 will have a much bigger leap. This year, his highlight plays were very good. Of course, having that glorious play against Tennessee, and later in the year, he started to get his legs moving essentially. But I think in year 2, Zach Wilson could have a way bigger impact, especially with this new rookie class coming in. I made a video about how Ika Mekwanu could potentially be the pick at 4. But anyways, even though Zach Wilson did fall short of expectations, I still think that what we saw in the later half of the year could transfer over to the start of the year. I hope he can continue to work with Elijah Moore and Michael Carter, and then hopefully he'll have a much bigger impact and way better stats in year 2. Just quick mention, he was also a 3-time Rookie of the Week. Next up is AVT, Elijah Vera-Tucker. I would like to see Elijah Vera-Tucker have a visual impact. Like, you can actually see his impact on the field, and I'd like him to at least stay healthy for the majority of the season. Elijah Vera-Tucker 100% exceeded my expectations, at least. In the beginning of the year, he was struggling, but at around week 5 in the London game, he had like a 92 PFF grade, and he did have a visual impact. In my last video, I was talking about how he was instrumental in the run game, and I think AVT could play at a Pro Bowl level next year, and I think that the Jets made an excellent decision drafting him and moving up for him at 14. Next up, Elijah Moore. I see a realistic expectation being 30, 40 receptions and 500 yards. Now, Elijah Moore meted my expectations, and a lot of his production came within weeks 5 through weeks 13, and then the season ended with injury, but he got over 500 yards. He had 5 touchdowns, which led the team in receiving yards, and he was second in receptions. Elijah Moore had an excellent year, and if he was able to play the full 17 games, he would have gotten over 1,000 yards. So I think that Elijah Moore in year 2, if he stays healthy, is gonna be he's gonna take his stats and his production to the next level. I think that Elijah Moore is gonna have an excellent year next year. Next up, Michael Carter. I expect him to get some playing time, hopefully, at least 100 carries or 100 touches. 500 all-purpose yards, I think, would be a pretty good rookie year for a 4th-rounder. Michael Carter also exceeded my expectations. He was just a few yards off of 1,000 all-purpose yards. He had 4.3 yards per carry. He led the team in rushing yards. He led the team in rushing touchdowns. And I'm pretty sure he was 4th out of all rookies in all-purpose yards. Now, Michael Carter is an excellent running back. Obviously, his impact was shown throughout the year, but I think that the Jets should still try to address running back, maybe get a power back, and then this offense becomes scary if Michael Carter becomes your 3rd down running back and you have another power back as almost like a goal line back, so Michael Carter can be more effective as a change of pace, fit through the hole running back. Overall, I think Michael Carter had an excellent rookie year, and I'm looking forward to see more of him in year two. Next up is Sherwood. If he does get the start, I'd assume he gets around 50 tackles and maybe a pick or two. I think I shot way too high on the expectations for Sherwood. Fell short, only had 8 tackles, but he did tear his Achilles in week 5. But we'll have to see more of him in year 2 because I still think he's going to get quite a few reps as Robert Saleh compares him to Fred Warner quite a bit. Next up is MC2, Michael Carter II. I don't expect Michael Carter to do anything very impactful in the defense. I think his impact is going to be way greater on special teams, potentially as a gunner or return man. Completely wrong about this take. Michael Carter II had an excellent rookie year. Was the starter at slot cornerback, and throughout the entire year, other than week 18, Michael Carter allowed 0 touchdowns, and he was one of the most snapped rookies in the NFL. But Michael Carter, even though he had no interceptions, he was excellent in the slot, and I think the production will start to increase as soon as the secondary gets better. He's a lockdown in the slot, and excellent year, and I'm looking forward to see more of him. And he is probably the only penciled in starter at cornerback next year. I think the Jets hit massively on both of the Michael Carters in this draft. Next up is Jason Pinnock. So I think that Jason Pinnock still has a solid chance to win the starting job if he can impress in training camp. I think maybe 1 interception. Now, Jason Pinnock kind of fell short of my expectations. He was injured a lot of the year, and I think he got back in like week 10 or something. But he played a lot better at safety. And I thought he was going to play outside boundary cornerback, but that ended up bringing Brandon Echols. But at safety, Sherwood was good, and I think in the future, he's going to be a good rotational safety. Next up is Hakeem Dean. I think that out of all of our 6 defensive players we drafted, Hakeem Dean probably has the best chance of being a gem. Maybe this year he won't have as big as an impact as Sherwood would, but I still think in the future he'll have a much larger impact. Hakeem Dean kind of had a nothing year with us this year. Finished with 3 tackles and a grade of a 27.5. Just ended up not getting any snaps. Saw him on the sidelines a lot. Just overall a nothing year from Hamza. And I don't know where the Jets go on from him. It seems like he's going to get played over by Sherwood and whoever the Jets bring in free agency, or if they draft another linebacker. Overall, kind of a dud pick, even though I thought it was a good pick. Getting close to the end here with Brandon Echols. Brandon Echols, in my opinion, was probably the most suspect pick in this draft. Who knows? I think he's going to have the least impact out of everyone here, just purely because we already drafted a slot cornerback free safety earlier. I was completely wrong about this pick. Brandon Echols tied for the lead for interceptions on the team. He had 50 tackles, and then he had 9 pass deflections. He had a great year. He was a Rookie of the Week winner. He had the last interception thrown by Tom Brady in the regular season, and he got it signed, by the way. And he shut down Jamar Chase as well in that iconic Bengals game. Brandon Echols he blew out my expectations tenfold as a sixth round rookie. But even though he had such a great year, and he played mainly CB2 for us this year because of our weak secondary, I don't think he'll be a long-term starter, even though I like him a lot. I think he'll be one of the backup boundary corners. And that's a really good find for the 5th or 6th round. But I think that the Jets still try to bring in another cornerback. But other than that, Brandon Echols had an excellent year. Last is Jonathan Marshall. He maybe could fight for the backup 3-tech spot, or he could be our number 4 overall defensive tackle, because I think that Jonathan Marshall kind of had a absolutely nothing year other than having a safety in the preseason. 1 tackle, a 37.7 grade. Mainly he just caused flags. So this was kind of just like a nothing pick, essentially. So here are my final grades for the season. Zach Wilson could have a lot of potential. He could have a lot of potential in the future, but basing off of this year, have to give him a B minus. He had a lot of really good plays, but he still turned over the ball a lot. AVT is an A plus, potential All Pro, Pro Bowl level player for the next couple of years. And then Elijah Moore, I think, also was an excellent pick. I can see him being another 1,000+ yard receiver in the upcoming years. And I also think that Michael Carter was an A minus. Michael Carter can catch out of he can do everything, but at the same time, I think the Jets should still try to get a power back. Just because, but also Michael Carter just had an excellent year, A minus. Jason Pinnock's a question mark. Just at safety, he's good, but we really don't really know how much of an impact he's going to have. Michael Carter the second is an A plus, not even close. Was one of the better slot cornerbacks in the entire league. Jamie Sherwood at a C plus just got injured. We'll have to see what he does and how much time he gets to play in year 2. Hamza Nasirildeen, he just really didn't play a lot, didn't have a great impact, and I don't know how much he's actually going to play next year. Brandon Echols is an A minus, really good depth cornerback who's proven to have, and he's had really good games, and he actually can get picks. Jonathan Marshall at D, no impact, and just he's going to be pushed down on the depth chart and might even get cut in training camp next year. But that does it for the class review. Let me know your thoughts about the Jets draft class in the comments. And I'm going to be posting more videos soon. I think a mock draft in the upcoming week. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.